Hello. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the COACHMC studio. This is the studio where we'll help you to shape unique behavior deliveries and where we'll help you to get recognized in the audition room. And today, I'm truly blessed. It's a thrill acting out with Tanya, with the incredible Tanya Lynette Smith here on the show. Talks on Acting is all about finding out how the world is doing, what acting coaches and international actors, how their work looks like, how their routine looks like, to impact our audience here at the COACHMC studio, to give them creative content from all over the place, to give them new insights and also perspective, especially in those hard times we're facing right now. We will surely touch upon that. So thank you so much for joining the show, taking your time. Welcome, Tanya Lynette Smith.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
It's a pleasure. It's a blast. Everybody hustles, everybody works, everybody has a busy time schedule, even right now in Corona time. So I know how hard it is to find like an hour to carve it out of your schedule and take time to answer questions, and also being here for our community. So it's a great pleasure. Just let's jump right into it. I mean, being an acting coach in LA, is there any crazier job? Is there anything more beautiful? Is there anything more exciting and demanding?
You know, it's insane and it's amazing. It's wonderful. And I feel so lucky to be doing this because I get to work with all sorts of people. I get to work with people that are absolutely scared to death to even jump to go forward with their dream. And then I deal with people that have been doing it for a long time and they're like, wow, I'm kind of stuck in this thing and what do I do? So it's crazy because I can't believe I'm given the opportunity to help people. And then it's also crazy because I can't believe they even want me to help them sometimes. Like it's like a dream and I can't believe I'm even here. So it's insane.
I read your bio extensively and it's beautiful, like what you're mentioning. And I feel pretty much the same about that. Coaching is so liberating. It's even, at some levels, it's even more powerful than acting, and it's more satisfying and gratifying than acting at some corners, to get that response from that person you talked so intimately about certain, very private topics, and you dig deep in the personality of building a character. So beautiful and rewarding. So yeah, I totally get that. But at the same time, it's also very draining, right? It's also,
it can be.
you have to give a lot, and you as a person, like seeing your videos and your show Acting Out with Tanya on igtv, guys, you have to make sure to jump into that program because it's magnificent. It's truly funny. First of all, being funny, like seriously funny, like funny with a purpose and not just funny for the sake of it, is very difficult. So that shows me that you are very smart about your endeavors and how you approach things, and it totally makes sense what you're saying. And I think you are a great boost for your clients.
Thank you. Oh my God, I'm going to be here every single day with you so you could boost me up.
That's my job. That's my job. No, but seriously, you know your steed. So right now, I guess it's pretty crazy, like everywhere. Can you talk a little bit about it? I mean, or are you completely sick and you don't want to touch upon that because you get so bombarded right now with this one topic only? But I think it could be very revitalizing for the people out there that are kind of, heard, this vacuum in their life, and now suddenly there's this hard stop. And for many people out there, maybe it's hard to deal with that stop, breaking out of the mechanism. And now, I'm so used to my routines. I'm so used to my habits. I go audition there on Wednesdays. I go work out there on Tuesday. People in Los Angeles, they are very driven. It's that peak performance and towards, booking that job. So it must be very hard over there right now.
Yeah, it is difficult, but I will say one thing, if something good came out of this is, this world is everything's on video. Like self-tapes, back when I was acting, there were no self-tapes. I would actually go into the room.
Yeah.
And, I would get my script, right, and go into the room and audition, and they would see all of me. And it's not like that. You rarely go into the room. So doing this over Zoom or Skype or whatever we're using, now I'm really honing in on my clients, and I'm looking at them like this. So because I'm looking at them in a square, which I always did for self-tapes, now I'm 100% looking at them like this. So I think what's happening is there's a benefit, because the minute they go back and they're on set, they're going to be really armed with what they need because they're aware of how they're presenting themselves.
I agree. To some extent, it's even more helpful. And to some extent, those private coaching sessions online have more impact, more intimacy than, you know, meeting in the studio. Everybody's like dressed. Sometimes that home outfit, like feeling comfortable and confident in your zone, gives you that more of an opening to kind of finally break through and get that character, like get a grip on that character.
Right. Absolutely. And, you know, it's interesting because it's funny, like when I'm doing a class and I'm looking at the actors on stage and everything, and I have my class behind me and I'm very aware, like I'm very sensitive. So I have a lot of rules. I love my people, but I have a lot of rules. You're forward, your phone is off, your direction is to the stage. You don't get up and go to the bathroom. Everything is for that person. And so I'm very aware if I hear a sound, if someone's messing around. And now over Zoom, I could see everybody there. So I'm like, put your head up. Stop looking over there. What are you doing? Stop that.
I saw you. I saw you.
Right. So now I demand all that focus. But you know, what I do is I teach the actors like, hey, you're going to create your own content because I mean, you have to create your own content. And one day you're going to be casting, right? One day you're going to be casting. And if you're looking away or getting bored or losing focus, you're going to miss that gold performance from that one person. That could be the thing that makes your project. You know what I mean? So it teaches focus, I think, don't you?
Absolutely. In a weird way, this whole Zoom thing that is going on right now, it kind of feels like the ancient times. If you really think about this is like ancient Greece was, you know, people got together in an auditorium and there was one focus only. There was only the speaker who was there, you know, and directing like a star, like radiating out to everybody present in the room. And everybody was ready to jump in, to conversate, you know, to open up with an idea or even to go through with this line. So this is what is happening right now. We're getting back to something very ancient and mystical and powerful, I guess. And if we're using this opportunity right now, I think we can do amazing things when those are open again.
I think so. And also what it does is it teaches actors, almost hate saying this word, to not be so self-indulgent.
Yes.
It's
the right word, believe me.
It is the right word, you know, because I do it too. I know I could be like, Tanya, you know, crap, right? It's just to teach them that, you know, we're part of a bigger picture. I mean, really, it's not just about us. I mean, think about it. I always tell my actors, if it was just about you, you would be acting in front of the bathroom mirror and that would be enough for you. It's about your audience. So you have to connect. And this teaches you how to connect because the camera doesn't lie, right? You can tell right now if I'm like, if I'm not really, I'm lying to you, right? I'm like here. So, yeah.
I'm always, the project, the COACHMC studio started online. So for me, it was no big news, but I'm pretty surprised that people are so proactive that they want to participate. They don't want to stand still. They don't want to kind of, and that's good. And I believe that we should keep, of course, grinding, but you know, it's also good at some point, okay, you've done also enough. Right now, just relax a little bit. You know, come back to what it's really about, right? Just finding that, and that I think heavily links to what you're also saying in your acting out with Tanya lessons on IGTV, and that's so cool. It just, you know, what is the sense of this word? What is the meaning of this line? How do you get a grip on that? And how beautiful is that to express that? You feel the joy of expressing that before you think her, you know, and move all around it. So can you a little bit open up on that? How you, because you got a very specific, it's your method. It's basically yourself, right? How you teach and how you have your classes. How did you kind of carve that out?
You know, I think what happened is I kind of thought about what would I want, because I've studied with some awesome people, and I kind of feel with coaches, you know, we kind of all, you know, take a little of this, take a little, well, stealing from each other, you know, we're like, oh, that idea, and how can I put my spin on it? And I think I studied with so many amazing people, and because I was a student, and, you know, I take classes now as well. I'm always dropping into classes, and then when I see it, like, oh, wait, I think that's a student or someone to audit, then I leave the class, you know what I mean? But I know what it's like to be a student, and I know what it's like to need certain things. So a certain technique will only take you so far, where you learn what you learn, you're there, you're studying, and then all of a sudden it sparks something else in you, and you need to learn a little bit more. And I'm not a purist. I mean, my favorite is Meisner. I love the Meisner technique. It really opens me up. I really feel like I'm dealing with who's in front of me. But I'm not a purist. You take a little bit, you have this big bag. So I think my method is really, it's mixed in with everybody else, but it's also, are you telling the truth? Are you telling the truth? Don't make it up. It's not what everybody else wants. Are you telling the truth?
I think that's very powerful, because in the end, like you said, a technique can take you to a certain extent, to a certain point, and that's beautiful. Take that. But then it's got to be your truth. It's not the truth of the technique. So if you have to find something else to express that truth inside of yourself, by all means, make sure to pick from all various fields and all the masters out there. Also steal. If it's,
totally. People
Picasso said that. He said, you can, mediocre people, they copy, but the masters, they steal. They make sure to take the whole product, the whole thing. They don't exclude anything. Oh, this is good. I will take that. I will make sure this is now in my system. And then I adapt to it. I create a structure around it. I make it mine. It's still my truth. It's still my truth.
Right. It's like, it's whatever gets you there. When I'll be working with an actor, like, okay, let's say we're working on a scene for 3 weeks or 4 weeks. And in 1 week, I might give them a note, oh, this or this or this, right? And then the next week, I'll give them a note that completely contradicts. And they're like, well, why did you say last week? And I'm like, because this is what you're giving me this week. What is your truth? I don't believe you right now. I believed you last week. So what are we doing? What's changed? What's going on for you? What can you pull from? What do you need right now?
Do you like to do that sometimes if a certain route doesn't really work, where you think, where you kind of see that sometimes, you sense that with a client, with somebody who comes and says like, okay, this is not working. Okay. Sometimes it's the complete opposite all of a sudden that works perfectly. Sometimes you gotta, just, let them rewind the tape, and then all of a sudden it's there.
Right. Definitely. I might talk to an actor and say, your energy is really low. What's going on with you? What went on with your day today? Like, let's start from the truth, right? Because if you're trying to manufacture something, it's going to come out pretty fake. And when you audition, I mean, you know what it's like auditioning. You're lucky sometimes if you're in the room for even a complete minute. So your first take has got to be stellar. So what's going on with your life right before this?
Right before this, right?
Before this, and deal with your truth right now, so that when you're dealing with the character has a whole world. So maybe today the character is sad, but you still have to do what the writer wants you to do, but you're still dealing with who you are.
Yeah, you have to serve the text. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through what is your usual program? Let us know where you're located. Just I'm curious how you approach and how you kind of connect to the actors and what you do with them, how you treat them badly, because I want to join one of your classes for sure. I want to make sure to jump in. I have to find it. I have to carve it out of my schedule, but I will make sure to do that. I want to record that. It's going to be fun. I know that right now.
And I'm going to kick your butt like I kick
your butt. Can't wait.
Easy on you. I'm not going to go easy on you. I will say, so what I do is this. I love the actors that I work with. I'm not going to say I coddle them and stuff like that. And I'm not going to say I beat them up. I deal with each individual and their truth from where they are at that moment. My classes are not like a beginning class and advanced class. I don't really believe in that. For me, just for me, other people do what they do. I believe in combining everyone together. And so sometimes my more advanced people will be like, oh, well, I already learned that. And I'm like, well, what is it about you that you can't be patient enough to remember what your foundational skills were like? And so when I say that to people, they kind of get it. So they're watching this newbie, whatever, come in and learn certain techniques. And then they remember, oh, I remember what that was like.
Right.
And then a newer person is coming in and they're watching these people that have been doing it for a while. And they're striving for what they want. Oh, I like what they want. I want what they have. But remembering they went through what they went through as well. And so I bring my classes together like that. We deal with what's going on with them right now. And I look at each person And I say, okay, this person has to really deal with, like, let's say monologue work. They have to really deal with being watched for a certain amount of time and only, and are they comfortable?
Right.
The other person has ideas of how they think this character should be. So now we've got to work on these ideas that they have and try to strip that down. So they're just telling the truth. Does that make sense? Like what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. So we do all sorts of things. One thing I hate is if an actor is not prepared.
Mm-hmm.
And it drives me crazy. If I give you a scene and you're not prepared, it makes me insane, because it's not that I'm mad at them. It makes me insane.
But
because
I'm mad at them.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's different because I'm
why? You know why you're mad at them? Because I can totally understand and relate to that. I'm mad at them too in this moment, because it's not that we're mad at them. It's not even our ego. We want them to grow. We want them to be better.
Right.
We want them to, progress. And we have those keys ready for them. And then it's like, we waste another opportunity. Now we have to wait another round. And,
we have this thing.
Take it, man.
Do you notice, like, you can only coach someone from where they're at? If they haven't learned their lines, what are you going to do? If they haven't done their character work, what are you going to do? You're just going to
sometimes if I realize, okay, he's on a totally different plan right now. I don't know what he did the night before. I don't want to know. So sometimes I have to do crazy things. I get into martial arts a little bit, some Tai Chi, some breathing exercises. I let them lay down on the floor, whatever. Sometimes it gets kind of weird, but always, very respectful and everything. But yeah, I have to be sometimes severe as well, because the problem is there is so much offer right now to get distracted. In my room, there's also the smartphone eliminator. There's no smartphone allowed. They just, I try to kind of extract them out of the matrix and just place them there as human beings and kind of approach them as truthfully and intimately and privately and personally as possible, so we can really have an effective hour or 1 hour and a half where we get our product.
It's like a laboratory.
It's a laboratory. It's a laboratory. And it's really hard because it's so hard to get distracted. It's so easy to get distracted. So I have to be very, push the information in so they realize. And then after, okay, now I get it. Then we just work on basically on the details, because then they can take it from there.
Right. And also, if they do get distracted, how do they pull their focus in? The studio that I was in a while ago, next door, you know how it is in an acting, you're going to hear other noises. There's other things going on, but sometimes they would be like really loud. And my students and I was like, well, what if you're on set and you're looking at services has just walked by and you're acting to room
right.
Yeah, something happens, you have to be able to be focused. What if that director doesn't call cut and says back to one? You still have to have all that thing that took you out and be able to bring it back in.
How do you get them to focus? How do you get them to kind of be there in your studio? Do you do some sense work, meditation? What is your to-go method there?
The first thing that I do is before anyone's allowed to walk, and I'm like this on Zoom, before they're allowed to even walk in to the studio, to their place where they're going to be, they wait in the lobby. Everyone waits together so they can get rid of, what did you do for lunch? Or what is that audition? They can get rid of all that stuff that doesn't belong in the work. And they get to talk out there. Then I come out. We all talk amongst each other. I tell them, this is my intention for class today. This is what we're going to do. And I always ask people, what was your win of the week? And it could be anything. It doesn't have to be acting. It could be, I got out of bed this morning, whatever. What is their win of the week? So they're already focused on their win. They're already focused on what makes
positive affirmation. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, what makes me feel good. And then when we walk in the door, I usually have music. So they walk into music. They're putting things down. Oh, and before class starts, they have to go in, put their stuff down, and then go back out to the lobby. So that's how it is. So they're not rustling around. Cool. So they walk into music, and usually that music that I set up is dealing with what we're working on that day.
Cool. So you're preparing the mood. You're setting the table.
It's a show. I have candles. I have everything. It's a total show.
Cool. Beautiful. I think your students get something. They get an experience, and there are a lot of great coaches, but they're very technical and cold. Sometimes you get in their apartment, it's like, okay, I have the honor to sit here on this chair. And everything's like, okay, so respectful. And then sometimes
I feel as coaches, we do put on a show in a sense, right? Because our energy.
Of course. Sometimes it's the only way to get to him. You know, sometimes he's so distracted or he's so beat up or something happened. And sometimes you have to put on a show. I do whatever the client needs in order to get that product out, to get that performance out. Otherwise, I'm not satisfied. I won't be happy. So yeah, it's a constant. The master gets, you know, becomes the apprentice and vice versa all the time.
Right.
I
And you're
learned
learning
so many things.
Don't you learn? I learned so much.
I learned so many things. It's amazing.
So much about
and I
human
can immediately translate them into my acting performance as well. So this is, you know, it's mutually beneficial. I should pay them sometimes.
I think you should. You should pay them for free coaching sessions.
When? Yeah. Just I'm curious. What books do you read? What movies do you like? What music do you hear? Because I mean, it's obvious that you sense something, that you have truly something to say and to tell and to share. It's belief. It's obvious, and that's so beautiful. I mean, many coaches come from a technical standpoint. Many coaches come from a method-driven standpoint. Many coaches are very they're masterminds, but you obviously you have that heart to share, and there's something truly, it's kind of mystical almost, so where does this all come from? How did you meld everything together?
What I would say is I'm always talking to my students, find the love in every character, in every scene with whoever you're dealing with. Find the love and find the fear. Find the fear. What are you most afraid of with this person? What are you most afraid of in this character? Those two things I think are really important. And it's probably why my taste in films and television are to two extremes. I either love these romantic, sappy things, or I love horror and murder and fear and all of that. It's like two different things because I feel like it's two different extremes.
Oh, right. Makes sense.
Yeah. So that's probably where I'm at with that. And I just get a sense of what the person needs in that moment. What do they need? Do they need me to be a little harsh? Because I'm full access. My students can call me, text me, email me, pigeon herd me, write to me. I'm full access at all times for them to get in touch with me.
Same thing over here. And you wouldn't believe it. I 3 weeks ago, we recorded Core and Mask, like an acting elements masterclass I uploaded on my YouTube channel. And it was exactly about love and fear, that all emotions, basic emotions, are based on those two principles. And, as a result of that, all acting, actions that you will take, whether your character acts out of fear, he retracts, or he refuses, he neglects, whatever it is, or he acts out of love, he embraces, he's generous, he looks for the challenge, whatever. So
right, definitely.
Yeah, that's one of the, I think, once you really figured out, okay, my character is absolutely driven by fear in this scene. Or like you're saying here, he is absolutely in love with the situation and this girl. So obviously he wants to stay. Yeah.
Right. Definitely. So it's just about finding the truth. I mean, isn't it the same for all of us? I mean, we're afraid so much of our lives. We walk around being afraid. And I think when that is our truth of what's going on, we're constantly trying to not be afraid. We're trying to look good in front of others. We care about what people think. I mean, that's why I think we're sensitive and we're artists. We really want to, we have a feeling and we have a need, and we want to make sure we're pushing that out towards someone else, and we're hoping that they catch on and they get it. You know what I mean?
It's truly about inspirational content that we put out as actors. It's truly like that. People can relate to that in that moment. That creates that relief that I want to see. And besides, it's great entertainment. So I get something out of it. That's why, actors and the entertainment industry gets so much attention by the media and everything. But what you're saying is, it is true. We are afraid, but there's also this system going on of this media coverage all the time, and we get bombarded with news. Like right now is the best example. And I think in future we should be more careful how we treat our words, how we treat what we're saying, how we treat, because social media has made language liquid. Everything is fluid right now. We don't really reflect on what we're writing because we are bombarded with letters and words and lines and advertisement all the time. So I think we can do some better in the future by, also getting back to what words really mean and be more cautious about what we're expressing all the time, because in the end, it hits back. In the end, it reflects back on us.
Right. And we say and we type and we do things behind this message board, and we don't realize how it's going to affect that other person, what it's going to do to them. I mean, they're human beings just like us. At the end of the day, we're all the same. And it's like we have such a responsibility as human beings, but we have a responsibility as artists for what we put out there as well.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's why the truth is so important. And my character has got to be authentic, because I'm affecting that person in the back of the audience. Maybe I'm playing a character that got abused in my life. Okay, let's just say I'm playing a character that got horribly abused by a family member. And there's that little girl or little boy in the back of the studio that has had this experience. And because I've been authentic and real and true, they're seeing that, and now they have the courage to speak up. So we have this responsibility with our words, with our actions, with our mind, and with our craft to be as real and truthful as possible for that little girl and that little boy in the back of that studio.
Yeah. Do we misuse it? Of course, everybody misuses his power on this planet. Everybody, you know, exaggerates once in a while. Yeah, but we also, I think we grind out also some great input for the people out there. I mean, we can, like, why we're approaching this business. In the first place, of course, the fame and the billboards and Oscars. Yeah, that's luring. That's interesting to think about. It's funny and exciting, of course. Right? It's like Motown music, right? It makes you dance. But in the end, it's about impacting people. You have that ideal that you want to share something, that you have the urge of telling your answer to some of the questions out there, that you want to jump into those characters, and you want to believe those worlds. You want to be in those worlds. Right.
You want, I mean, artists, you know, this is what I say to them, and I don't know if you agree. I feel like this is such a weird way to put it. Like, we're doomed. We're doomed, because once you have this in you, you can't get rid of it. You can't get rid of it. You want to play all these different people and impact all these people and affect people. Like, we're doomed. We can't stop. Right?
What? Absolutely. It's like being a pianist, right? Being this genius. No, I have to nail this, right? No.
Right.
I studied so many composers from the past, classical composers, because, I mean, those people were truly crazy. They were directing orchestras of 100 people. Everybody was playing a different instrument. They had everything in their head composed, and for everybody written out perfectly. So the audience, thousands of people then, you know, sitting in the theater would perceive this incredible harmony. I mean, what kind of mind drives a man, a woman to create such art, such compelling and intriguing and complicated art? I think that's the beauty of telling a story, a message. And I totally agree. It is crazy, because you can't stop. You want to do it. You search for, and yeah, it's a bit creepy, because you search for that conflict. Right? Ultimately, you want to exercise your truth, your power, your generosity on that conflict. You want to win this battle. You want to win this game.
Right. You are constantly walking. That's a great way to put it. I'm going to steal that from you. You are constantly walking into the conflict, right? You're constantly walking into, what does your character need? What do they want? Who are you talking to? Where are you? What's going on? Something has to be going on. So you're constantly walking into where, I guess, human beings, like natural in the real world, we're trying to avoid walking into it. And actors, we're walking into it constantly.
That's what I also teach a lot of my students and clients. The first thing you have to look out for is the competition inside of the scene. And usually 99% of the times the answer is, why? I'm not competing with the other character. No, I don't see any competition. It's like, that's exactly what you're trying to do, right? In regular life, you're competing against time. You're competing against yourself, even sometimes. You're competing against your colleagues. You're competing against, you know, getting to the bus. You're competing against your mirror. You're competing against. Why you try avoid, you know, competition inside of the scene when suddenly you have the freedom to put everything in there as an actor? No, you're trying to avoid it. No, you have to go for that conflict. Search for that conflict, because that's the place where the truth happens. Search out, where is your competitor? You want to beat him. You want to win this game. Yeah, but am I evil, or am I too? It's not about being evil. I mean, we all play those games in real life too. Now you got the chance to, you know, let me see what you got.
Right, definitely. And to lose yourself in it.
Yeah.
right? Isn't that what we want as artists? We want to lose. And it's so, you're not in a scene 100% all the time. I mean,
No.
you're not, you wish, and there's moments you're in the zone, but you do check out, you do hear something, you do pop around, and
Sure.
then you connect to your partner. And, it's, yeah, it's
What
that.
was your most demanding role? What was your most demanding character so far? Was there any experience where you said, "Damn, that was really tough"?
For me personally, or
Yeah.
for student?
No, for you personally.
For me personally, okay, I did this role where I had to be pregnant, then
Mhm.
I had to give birth, and I had to die. And that was hard for me because, when you're pregnant, you're wearing like a pregnancy suit,
Right.
right? I'm in a barn where I was doing this scene with like Anne Margaret, like legendary Anne Margaret. And I was so nervous. I was like sweating. I'm like Anne Margaret. And then, so I have to give birth, and I'm there in the position, and Anne Margaret's right there and trying to catch the baby. And so the baby has like cream cheese and, jelly all over it to the birth
Thanks
thing.
for the detail.
Yeah, I want to be real with you. It's cream cheese and jelly. And so that was difficult for me to be there and look at this person, this idol to me,
Mhm.
and to do that scene. And then what had happened was everyone broke for lunch, and they needed some sound. And the director was like, "Oh, Tanya, come here. We're all leaving for lunch. I'm in my pregnancy thing." He's like, "Lay down." And I'm like, "Okay." And he puts the mic on. He's like, cry, because they needed to get that sound. And I remember sitting there, how am I going to do this? I got all this fear. And then I just
Right.
remember what I was going through. I was
Right.
I was dying. And so I was able to come up with it. And then when the scene was over, the wardrobe had to come in and pull the stuffing out of my stomach because I had given birth already. And that was truly one of the most difficult experiences in my mind as a
Mhm.
human being, what I was dealing with. So
Mhm.
that was really hard for
Mhm.
me, of all
Mhm.
the things I've ever done.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Wow, yeah, that must have been intense.
it
Absolutely.
was very intense.
But I love those moments when it really gets cringy in a way. And
Yeah,
when it happens, of course, it's kind of suffocating sometimes, but afterwards, it's really liberating to realize, oh, I made it through. I can learn out of this. I can reuse it now. Now
right.
I'm not afraid of this tool anymore.
Right. You got through this big, scary thing, and you made it to the other side. And I think for actors, what happens is we always come, at least I do, I come against this moment where I want to stop.
Hmm.
I get afraid of something. I get nervous about something. I'm messing up. I'm not understanding. I want to stop. And then I take that step and I go forward. And that's such an amazing feeling as an artist. And that's what I try to teach as much as possible.
I saw on the various platforms um, out there that a lot of people, when it comes down to memorizing the lines, right? And I
Mm.
have also made a video about this. It's they take the words for granted. They know, okay, these are words. I know those words. It's regular stuff. Just go through it a couple of times, then I got it.
Yeah.
And it's so true what you said on those posts is it's not just having them, it's just really getting them. And then once you get them, there is another step. There is, melting them, putting them in various contexts. Maybe one line is being afraid. Maybe the other line is being happy all of a sudden. Maybe the third line is something completely different again. So this being adaptive is, I think, also one of the beauties of living in LA. And
LA is amazing. I
it
love it.
is, right?
I'm a New York girl, but LA is my home. I'm a Cali girl.
I love LA. It's an amazing city. Absolutely. What do you think? How much will it be of an impact for the town of LA? How much will it be for the entertainment industry? I know it's kind of a downer to talk about, but also giving our communities also some perspective and context, and help them, to kind of show them like, okay, pilots have been stopped, right? But
Yes.
how do you think it will affect when it opens up again?
I think we're going to adapt.
Hmm.
And I think we're going to be okay, and we're going to adapt, because what's happening now is everyone went through the, oh my gosh, fear. And now everyone is jumping on board, and they're creating and creating and creating. We're going to adapt to this new normal. And I think because of this, we're also going to take our actions seriously our roles more seriously.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to adapt. I mean, I feel it already. My students sitting there on Zoom like this, like for 4 hours, and they're getting tired. They're able to do it now. They're adapting because they know that they have to. I mean, there's no other choice. But it's different. It's definitely different.
I always compare it. I know it's kind of rough, but I always compare it to war. Like I talk to my grandparents a lot. They've been to war. My grandfather was a soldier, and so, you know, after the war, nobody thought that life could come back eventually. Everybody thought this is it, right? It was kind of horrifying after World War II over here in Europe and in Germany and Italy. But life comes back. It finds its way back. And people have suffered way more severe blows. The world has suffered, we're 4.7 billion years old. So there's a lot of stuff we're travelers through space. I mean, there is some risk involved in this crazy adventure called, space and life and Earth. And so, yeah.
We're adapting all of the time. I see it all the time. Even like when this first happened, I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do?
Mm-hmm.
I had a film that was about to start, had a new class I was starting. I was training a new student. I was on set. I was doing this. I'm doing this. And then it completely stopped. And I remember getting really sad for about a week and just checking out. And then I was like, well, I got to get back. I got to do it. And it's becoming easier and easier and easier. I put my mask on. I couldn't breathe. I was all upset. It was all surreal. And now I'm used to seeing a bunch of people with masks. I mean,
yeah,
we adapt.
If you ever been to Asia, like wearing a mask in Asia on the streets is like a common thing for 20 years over there. Like,
right.
So it's new to us, but unfortunately also pollution has made it very difficult for the Eastern countries like to breathe regularly normally. In Beijing in China, they all wear masks. For generations now.
I feel like LA is that with smog sometimes.
Right.
Mask on.
So when you thought about creating Acting Out with Tanya, of course, there was this thought of impacting people and, just having this crazy community and sharing love and knowledge. And now it has evolved. And just give us an outlook, because right now it's hard to plan. It's hard to put in the work. But in the end, like you said, video is there. The internet is there. We can create content. We can make our own videos. We can be on social media platforms. So what's your mission? What do you teach also your clients? What do you recommend them to do?
So in terms of Acting Out with Tanya, I started it because I was getting the same question over and over, and I wanted to answer that question. And I was like, well, video, I'm going to be able to answer it. And I want people to get it for free as much as possible. Mm-hmm. And that's why I do it, not getting paid to do it or something like that. I want them to get it for free as much as possible and to learn the tools that they need. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's my only mission here is you know what? I don't want to watch a television show and not believe it. I don't as an individual. I can't stand it. I want to believe it. I don't want to take that bathroom break.
I agree. I get angry sometimes. It's like, come on.
Is this the time I can go to the bathroom? Okay. I want to create something that's real that I want to see. Mm-hmm. And so that's, I think, is my mission, is to help people know that it is accessible. You can do it if you want to do it. You have to put in the work and you have to fight for the truth. And that's all I teach, basically. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's kind of it in a nutshell. Be real. I mean, that's it. Let's strive to be
powerful.
Real. Right. Powerful, real, authentic. Truthful. Do I believe you? Do you believe you? Like sometimes we'll do a playback. I'm like, did you believe that? And then, did you? And they're like, I don't believe it.
Really? It's I mean, of course you don't have to, mention any names, but I'm pretty sure you also had some, kind of famous clients, let's say. Yeah. In LA, it's very common. Like if you're a good coach, even sometimes if you're a newbie, I kind of experienced that too, that they are curious sometimes, like, oh, this is a new kid in town. Let's check him out. Let's go to one of his classes. Sometimes they kind of jump in. So you probably had some more respected clients from the industry in your studio. How was working with them and what they were looking for? Can you reflect on that a little bit?
Yeah. So my, I guess, what do we call them? Like A-list clients, right? A-list. Well, one, I signed paperwork, so I can't even mention names. So I signed paperwork saying I won't talk about you. I mean, I literally, here we go. I won't talk about you. I won't give any hints. A lot of times they don't come into my studio with my classes. They don't come into my classes. It's one-on-one or it's semi-private. It's things like that. And the biggest thing that they come to me with, it's fascinating. It's the very same thing as a person that's new to this business. Because think about it, everyone's out of work when they finish a project and they go to the next project. So they're trying to just understand what's going on. It is the exact same things. I just think for someone that has been doing this for a long time, they can get prepared a little quicker.
Yeah.
That's kind of it. And so we're constantly sitting there and talking about the same exact things that I talk about someone that's a week old in this business.
I agree.
It's just that they have their concerns and is how they appear to others, because they're a brand and they're a thing. So we're constantly looking at their brand.
Right.
I hate using that word, but it's kind of true. That's what they come to me with.
It is. Absolutely. I mean, it's 100% what they are. They are brands. They're full-fledged brands. I mean, they make a ridiculous amount of money with all sorts of products and companies and investments. So yeah, they are brands.
How do they look to you and what type are they playing? I mean, I've had people come to me with a few scripts and saying, and actually asking my advice, like which one should I go for? Which one's going to challenge me and which one is going to affect my audience, because they're used to me being in a certain type of role. So I'll look at it and I'll have this big responsibility of going number 3 and like hoping it hits. Oh, I hope that's good. You're not gonna blame me. Shouldn't have done that, right? So
I'm sure you had more profoundness about that choice than just like no. People have that certain, kind of strange idea. Once somebody made it, he doesn't need advice anymore. He doesn't need any teachings anymore, because now he knows what he does all the times. But that's not true. Acting is all about adapting. It's all about jumping into crazy different characters that are completely different from you sometimes. So yeah, it makes sense. Absolutely.
Right. It does make sense. And you have to pull from everyone. I mean, I'm always listening. I listen a lot to what someone is telling me.
Yeah.
And trying to, you're not going to agree with everything, right?
Yeah.
You take it a lot and you throw away what you don't need. But I'm constantly listening, because there's always something to learn. So, props to you that you were able to say, yeah, she taught me that. Or, yeah, he taught me that. And it wasn't just you. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. I find by sharing the process, it just becomes bigger. The product becomes even better. So by being jealous about your product, it becomes poorer and smaller over time. So it gets uglier. And I think by sharing, it also becomes more beautiful, because I always make this, if you look at Gary Oldman, right? I think he's one of the most incredible actors of all times. I don't know. He changed so many times in so incredible ways, manifold ways. And he always added something new, always something different, always a new spice to his recipe, to his ground recipe. He has this one sauce, and sometimes he picks over there, sometimes he picks over, but it's always a different taste. And that's what's so unique about this actor. And I think that's what coaches are also there for, because they see another spice, they see a different ingredient, because we are narrowed down by our performances as well. We are narrowed down by our jobs, by our environment. So we can only perceive a certain amount of our actual spectrum, because of course, by our environment, by our choices, by what we do and how we live, we get just a certain amount of reality into our system. But there is a coach who has a totally different amount of reality, a totally different vision on reality. And he says, hey, why don't you take that? Like Richard Laurence Olivier said to Dustin Hoffman in The Marathon Man, hey, why don't you try it with acting? Just act. Just try it with acting. After you've done that first class, after you've done your first groundwork with your students, because you mentioned sound and mentioned music, and this is all about frequency of getting in the right tune. And I also strongly believe in that. My method is based on words, sounds, and body. I mean, I just break it down in these 3 very basic chakras, elements, how do you want to call it, those talents. If you have those nailed about your character, if the sound is right, if the body moves accordingly, if the words are set perfectly, and all the actions kind of boom, come to life.
Right, right. You know what I do is, so people walk in, I walk them into music, to
Mhm.
sound, to lights, to video, whatever I want them to feel. So I'm setting my class. Then I ask each of my artists if they're doing a monologue or they're doing a scene or some kind of character work to pick a piece of music that puts them in that place.
Interesting.
So that's what I do. So instead of like having to go back into your memory, my dad did this, or
Yeah.
it's, it's fine if someone
Yeah.
wants to do it. But I'm
Absolutely.
like, pick music that puts you in the place where you need to be, because it surrounds you and takes you over. And therefore, when you're already in that space, then boom, you can move towards your character. You can approach this role truthfully, because music slips in. It's like water will slip into like a tiny little crack to
Mm.
get through. And I think music sort of tricks you in a sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Puts
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It gets you there and you don't even realize it. Ah, he
Like,
did
wait a
it
minute,
again.
right
Wait,
here.
how did I get here? No, it's true. It's true. I sometimes I kind of neglect it before shooting. I should do it more often, I have to admit, because I always kind of lose my earbuds or my headphones. So that's truly the only problem. I should listen to music more. I
It
always
helps.
yeah, it helps so much. I
It does.
listen.
It
Yeah,
puts you there. It just puts you there. You
right.
know.
What is your favorite music? How do you get like the mood?
Okay, so it depends on what I'm doing, and I think I
Right.
did tell you like I love horror. So do you remember that not the new one? Do you remember the series Penny Dreadful?
Oh
Did
yeah, the old one, you mean? Yeah.
you, yeah, I'll say it's old to you, right? So I'm so much older than you.
I'm
Oh,
43, so relative.
you know, so that kind of music that gets underneath you, that
Mm,
fear and the
mm,
beauty on top of it, that's a pull for me.
mm.
So it's music like that. So if you go and you listen to that, that's my type of music. It scares me. It makes me cry. It warms me inside. That's probably what my classes walk into, is music like that. A
Mhm,
lot of times no lyrics on top of it, because I
mhm.
want them to be at
Yeah,
this
yeah,
music
yeah.
spot,
Mhm. Makes
not
sense.
someone else's idea, make it
Right,
their own.
right.
And that's probably what I listen to prepare for something, and what my classes do as well.
Do you ever go out with your classes? Do you ever do outside sessions, outdoor session?
We've done stuff before where we took a walk.
Mhm.
So if someone's in a scene where they feel a little bit scared, and what I do is I'll theme my class. So today we're working on all scenes that bring fear, all scenes about serial killers or something like that. And
Cool.
then we might take a walk in an area that makes us feel a little scared, makes us
Mhm,
feel a little bit unsafe.
mhm,
I mean,
mhm.
I'm careful with my class, but it might be, and plus my
Sure.
studio is in Hollywood. So there's all sorts of like spots
It's
and
scary.
I mean, there is. Hollywood's like, you love it, but it's,
Yeah, yeah.
a little scary.
Yeah.
So anything that I can do to help the artist get into the mood
Mhm.
where they need to be is what I'm going to do and what I'm going to suggest to them, because it's difficult. It's really difficult to get into the place where you need to be and stay there.
What was your toughest client so far? What would you say was the toughest challenge?
My toughest, I'll see, that makes me emotional. Oh my God, you got to cut that out.
That was beautiful. The human condition.
That makes me emotional because, sorry.
Don't worry.
I was, shoot, I was working with an artist who she felt very discriminated against in the world.
Mhm.
And because she felt discriminated against in the world, she had such a trigger if anyone said any little thing in class. And I had to be so careful with every assignment. She wasn't able to leave her world behind. And we would talk after class, we would talk during class, we would talk over text, and she was so upset so much of the time, and she couldn't let that pain go that she gave up. She just stopped doing it. She does something else, and she's like, I can't do it. And that made me so emotional as a coach, because I felt like I couldn't reach her, and I couldn't say, you have so much talent, stick with it, stick with it, stick with it. And she couldn't. And that to me was a loss for myself and a loss for this beautiful actress that I know had a career ahead of her. So that makes me emotional.
Mhm.
That was really, really, and that wasn't so long ago.
Mhm.
And that was difficult. I could not get there. I just couldn't. I
Yeah.
couldn't do it. She had other coaches, and I could not get through to her and through her pain so that she could she could be an artist. She can act.
Let me tell you from a personal experience, not to, do some circumstantial talk here, but maybe it helps to know that sometimes you have to exit the train.
Yeah.
You have to walk upstairs, have to be there in the crowd and don't think about the subway anymore. And
it's a good way to put it.
Sometimes people need to be there. And then they will realize over time by themselves, if everything goes, let's say, the right way, that maybe now it's time again. Now they feel ready.
Yeah.
Now they feel empowered enough to take that challenge, to take that train, to step down, right? To walk down those stairs, because sometimes it is cringy to walk down those stairs, Tanya. It's not about you not getting through to that client. It's about that client that just wasn't feeling going down all those stairs.
Yeah.
Maybe 3, maybe 4, maybe 5, and then it's not there. And if it's not there, you can't force it out. You can't pull it out. You can't force her in, because that would be a violation of our ethical code that is not written anywhere, but that we all share in a way.
Therapists. We're not therapists.
We're not therapists. So if she doesn't want to walk down there, we have to respect. She will. Maybe one day she will. And then she will take that train, and maybe she will stay on that train. And then it will lead her to that station.
I hope so. We have a great responsibility as coaches.
Yeah.
Because we are hearing some of the most private information.
Absolutely.
Don't we? I mean, I know secrets.
Yeah.
And it's a fine line between therapy, because we're not therapists, getting the information we need, knowing where to stop, and then boom, there goes your character. There goes that scene.
Absolutely. I mean, just to stay on that personal note really quick, just to stay there, because it could maybe also help our audience, like in the ways of I had to absorb that. When I started coaching almost 7 years ago, like thoroughly and really, I had to absorb that. The first 18 months, they kind of went by so fast. And then it kind of hit me, all these emotions in my apartment, all these different characters we grinded out, all those self-tapes we made, light, resonance, sound, it leaves a trace even when the person is gone, right? It's science is not as set and as material as it likes to be. So those people were still there. I had to deal with those emotions. So it was kind of tough also to kind of prepare my system and for the work as a coach with the people, and to kind of understand that you have to separate that very thin line. It needs to belong to you, otherwise you get too involved, it hurts too much, you're not focused on and you're not delivering great work anymore. Basically, you're not doing the service you should do, because you're not really entitled to. So always tell I love to hear some of their stories. Sometimes I'm the same as an actor. Sometimes I need to release stress. I need to release some bad thoughts that I had, and I have to make them vocal. I can't just Tai Chi them away. So I need to go out. In the end, I'm Sicilian. So and then I realized by myself, like, now it's enough. Okay. Otherwise, you would cross, a cringy border. Now it's enough. Come back to yourself, getting to the character, and to the work.
Right. You always let them know. If I'm ever going a little bit deeper with an artist, I say, "Can you relate to this? Is there something in your life?" They're kind of having a tough time, right? It's like, I don't want them to use that life experience, but can you relate? And I'm like, this is for the purpose of this scene and this character. So this is for the purpose. So how can you relate for the purpose of this? Because if I do feel someone going and losing themselves, I've got to be able to bring them back. I mean, we have a great responsibility.
Absolutely.
As coaches, they're coming to us saying, I want to make this as strong and authentic as possible. Help me. And we've got to dig in there and kind of mess around in there to get that thing out, and to help them stay grounded and focused.
Right.
Yeah. That's how I feel.
I think we coaches are we are the, I don't know, it's by the way, it's not such a new job description, but the way it is happening right now in the last, I would say 15 years, 10 to 15 years, it's sort of a new medium, right? There are coaches everywhere there, because the system tells you something and there are people not quite getting what the system actually wants. So you need some translators, you need a medium, you need a metaphor maker. And the coaches have become those modern metaphor makers to succeed in life, to succeed with your craft, to succeed in the audition room. And like you said, there's a high responsibility involved with that, because people are really, they're playing their stakes. They're risking something because of our work. Of course, they're not just following blindly what we're telling them to do in the audition room, but we've worked along a path. And then I always say, take the risk. I always say, take the chance. I always say, go for the greater acting potential. If that involves a risk, you need to take it. Whether it's speaking fast, well, then exercise like crazy, or, jumping, breaking the role in a couple of seconds and being so exact and specific about your then you need to do it. But if that impacts, if that works, you're probably gonna, get recognized.
Right. And it's about like, what do they need? So if a client comes to me, so normally I always do a one-on-one first, because I want to know who I'm working with. Sure. And there's so many amazing coaches. If I'm not the person, I will say, I'm not for you. I'm not for you. And this is how I know I'm not for you.
How do you usually get that? How do you know that?
I know right away. It's just, I have to want to work with the person. You know what I mean? I have to understand what it is that they need and they want. And I have to be able to be on that same path with them. And if they need something that maybe I don't feel like I can teach, maybe I don't feel like I've mastered, I want them to go to the place where they can. I don't want to just, I don't want to use a bad word here, but
use the bad word.
I don't want to bullshit them, right? I don't want to want to do that to them. I want to be truthful. So I just get a sense, and I always ask them a few questions. And I always say, why are you an actor? Why? And I'll be able to know right then and there, because I can see in their eyes what it is. And sometimes people will just look at me and say, I can't do anything else. I've tried. I want it more than anything in the world. And then you get the people that go,
not quite sure.
Yeah. And then I'm like, well, let's dig a little bit deeper and let's find out what it is. And I usually know sometimes it is that answer that makes me want to work with them. It really just depends on the person, but I'm looking at their eyes. I'm looking at their eyes and how they're looking at me. And that's how I know if I can help someone and if I'm the right person for them. I can tell. I hope I can tell. I think I can tell. I can tell.
Yeah, you can tell. You can tell for sure.
Yeah, it's sort of like dating, I guess.
It is a little bit like dating.
Yeah, not that I date my students, but I mean, it's sort of.
No, I totally get what you mean. It's like dating sometimes. And I did the mistake to, I was so stubborn. I thought I could teach to everyone, right? I was so, in the beginning, I thought, yeah, of course I could share this with everybody. Like, there's no way that people don't understand my message, no matter who you are. But then I found my master. I became the apprentice. And I realized, okay, it's not working. It's all good. It's all good.
You can't teach everyone.
We're not a good match. It's all that. I mean, it's all good.
Yeah, and it's a language. I'm doing you a disservice.
It's a resonance. Some people don't want to resonate with you. Some people don't want to be a star in this right moment. I also had a client that she could have just, took a plane to an incredible audition. Everything she just needed to do is just basically walking to the production office she was currently employed in, and just ask for the little shift of days. I knew she could easily have done that, and she didn't. And she missed out on this incredible opportunity with incredible directors. And I hated her. It's like like we worked so hard on this. And then you get the call and you say no. I mean, it's like, no, but then, over time.
Was she scared? Was it that she was scared?
She was scared. Yeah. But I also offered, I come with you to, this great city, and, I come with you. I stand I be your shield. Don't worry. It's just this one thing that you need to do. Maybe an hour that you stay in this room.
Yeah.
I was so mad. I was so mad at myself. I said, "Oh, it was me. I pushed her so too much. We talked
Yeah, right. You're like,
too
no, it's not
aggressively. It
you.
was me. It was me. It was me." Then no, yeah, it was me for sure. I did a mistake. Otherwise, I think she would have done it. And somehow she was scared because I couldn't really. I don't know. Like, but
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
you
like the
get over
client
it.
I was talking about. You know, we as coaches, I think that people forget sometimes, we are extremely invested. We'll
Yes,
let you go. I will let you go. If you want to go, I will let you go. But we're extremely invested. I want you to succeed in this craft.
absolutely.
Yeah, and whether you're a movie star or you're doing community theater, which is totally cool. I just want you to feel good about what you're doing. I want you to feel that you can do it.
I
It's
love
really
community theater.
important.
I'm telling you this. Sometimes community theater is really good.
It's so freeing. And the people that come, like, they really appreciate you.
They
You're like
really
a
appreciate you.
celebrity. They're waiting for your autographs, and you're like, oh, I'm just in this little town where no one knows who I am.
Sometimes it's great. Yeah, I did it a couple of times. It's beautiful. The response is so magnificent. It's so true, and it's so funny, and it's very liberating. Also tell
Yeah.
the clients, do silly things once in a while. Don't, like you are also saying, like, don't always, just get your day off. Do silly things. Do stupid things. Don't think about acting and put it all, flip it.
Yeah.
Be
Yeah,
be
definitely.
free with it. Be free with your product. I hope LA is gonna recover very soon from this blow. I'm sure it will.
It's LA. We're so strong here. We're
Yeah,
so strong. This town is the industry is this town. So we're going to survive, and we're going to make it happen, and we're going to make it real. It's just new.
do you
And it's
feel like you are part of? Is there an acting coach community, or do you're doing your own thing? Do you have some colleagues you appreciate? You kind of acquaintances?
Yeah, I do. I do. I have we talk about things. I have colleagues that I appreciate. Other theater companies,
Mm-hmm.
I'll speak to them and just the crew and who's working the production team. We talk about what's going on, and there I have to say there is a lot of fear.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of theaters are closing down, and so people are scared, but we're going to come out of it. And now I think people are realizing, because I mean, think about all the bad things that have happened in the world all through time. There were always artists cheering everybody on and bringing the morale up. And so grants are coming about that are helping these theaters stay open. So people are getting it, and they're realizing just how important we are.
Absolutely. It's always in a time of great insecurity and time of crisis. You need creativity, you need art, you need entertainment, you need that spark. You need to kind of be distracted and, from what is happening, from the turmoil all around. And I think
Right.
art can be can play a big part in that. And also, I think the content that you are grinding out is also uplifting the community as well as your regular students, I would say. And
Right.
I can't really wait to join one of your classes. I'm going to make sure to make this happen pretty soon.
Wait for you to join it. What do you want to work on?
I want to work on a great monologue. I just want to
Okay.
do. I want to do
I
that.
have a great one for you.
Really?
I have a great one. I've given it to 2 people, and it is like, I love hearing it. Like sometimes my student will be like,
Oh,
I don't want to do it.
nice.
I'm like, can you just do it for me, please? I love it. So I'm going to
Shut up. Just do it.
challenge.
No, I just want to. Yeah,
So, yeah, you're here to entertain me, right?
absolutely.
I'm going to send it to you. I'm going to make you do it.
Please send it over. Let's do it.
I'm going to send, and then I think you should do it on one of your shows to show that you went through something, right? That you actually had to do it in a class. Go forward, and let's see the beginning, middle, and end.
I like how already it's kind of quenching and tweaking.
I'm challenging you. Your audience is watching. I'm challenging you.
Absolutely. I accept the challenge with pleasure. It's going to be fun. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Tanya. We really, really, really appreciate you coming into the show. Acting Out with Tanya. It's such a great and insightful feed, guys. Make sure to check it out. Subscribe to her content. Jump to her YouTube and also to her website. Learn about this very, very interesting, powerful, sensitive person with so many interesting facets. I'm sure she will deliver to you great value, and make sure to check out and follow her content. thank you so much, guys, for sticking with us till the end. It was a great pleasure sharing this conversation with you. Like always, if you're here for the first time, make sure to say hi in the comments. Also, to subscribe to our channel. It's the COACHMC Studio, and share this video to your community, because ultimately our mission here at the COACHMC Studio is to create a thriving community of great actors for ever better performances, truly remarkable performances. So thank you again, Tanya. Thank you so much, community out there. See you next time with the next video. Now you're ready to perform.